So hello. So today is 12th July. Start with the fifth live session. Pytest. Yesterday, browser entering the username, password, and then clicking on and working so far. Go to our Pytest. Was very simple that we had started yesterday. Try to open in password and redirected to dashboard. Now, for we have seen basics of folder history, types of hits. They've also seen how to started working with designing the now we have already created the but for login page, name page, and we will now create page object model. So I've already given a brief section about the page object model at on web application, no matter how many web pages are there. When we start with POM, separate web pages for of the web page. Now the benefit of POM that helps us maintainability. Suppose or we have just changed in the login page code. So just all the page just have to navigate to login page. We have to just make the change there. Or instead of login page, other page, then again we have to just go that particular page and make the changes there. Now, before diving into the topic, let me share the agenda of today's session. We are going to form approach how pages are created. Obviously, for today we are going to just focus on the login page, but as we progress in the automation framework, we will just add more pages of. So first is the form approach that we are going to see. Then HTML report, then the LEO report. And we will also see some of the important questions that can concept or on this we have seen. So these are the main agenda for today. Now, for writing the code for the page object, let's imagine a website that has like 100 pages. Sorry, I mean test cases. And there are multiple pages like login, dashboard, auth, profile, activity, etc. And we have written just single line of a single file for testing all the web pages. So somehow our test cases are 200 for all those 10 pages. It might be possible that our total line of code 200 lines of code. On a web application with 10 web pages where we can have more tests, very normal that line of code would be, because obviously there would be data code, there would be data code, then browser, and combine all of them for each at least line of that will take it to 1000 plus. And in this, have to or debug or get any, have to all these lines of code find that. That's very huge task. Now another issue that suppose we are using the name field and we are using the name at least 10 to places in our 2009 code. We are going related to username field. We have to at all the 10 places. Again, very time consuming form. What we are trying to do that we are 10 pages for which will be a page. And when we are creating these pages, obviously we are going to test logic pages and the testing will be performed in the test data file. Sorry, I mean test file. Because in the test data file, the data for the and exactly what form help us that it remove the centralization and just bifurcate the code that is easier to understand, easier to maintain, and easier to scale. Now, let's take a real life analogy. Suppose we are, suppose we HR and HR knows how the system works and tell the HR that I want to apply for the leaves and HR performs all the internal work. We don't have to any related Now, similarly, the object model approach, the test should never know how Selenium finds the element, how browser is opened, etc. It's task just for the testing activity, like I want to log into the. Now, as we create pages, for example, suppose create login page for our login page, create this just next couple of minutes. So when we web page, know or this should follow where the username exists, where the password exists, where the login button exists. Uh, and page object is like the receptionist of a company, HR of the company, has just bifurcate the tail was simpler. Sorry, find the code. Now there is another logic uh, that we can take for understanding the POM. Okay. Suppose Peter we have Peter in our company every day. Peter does not directly go into the department. They approach the receptionist, and the receptionist everything. So same things happens in the POM approach also. Our test file, rest of the details will be handled internally. We will factor the existing code that we have written so far, and we will optimize it. Now let's add our current folder. In our current folder structure, we have config.py in using the parameterized fixer for opening the Chrome and Edge browser. Then we have test login.py in which we are entering the URL, rotating the username field, password field, entering the data, and apart from that, also have the deployment.txt that I already told about. This is the readme.md which contains all the detail about the folder. Then Pytest, we have already seen why these files have been created, what purpose this file serves. I won't go into detail for them. Let's start with the page object. So I already created pages for the same purpose. In the pages folder, we are going to create a separate file for each web page of the application. It has. Now one thing that file we are not going to perform any testing. Not mandatory to name the file starting with test, like we have named this file, because Pytest is going to the code of this file to test our test contain the test logic. So not going to test as the prefix. Now we have created our first web page and first Earlier, all our code was driving from file. We created a function based on the login and our logic. But now we are shifting all these login file and drive our test from login. Now, since it is login file, so first let's create class. We are already familiar with class. Uh, Even if someone is not, I will add the resources of Python, the comment section. People can do basics of Python. You have to first handle the driver. F. Now driver is a fixed. So we are going to pass it as an argument of function. Use of so put tool to store the. So what we did, we just copied the existing code of test login.py file that we created yesterday. Created a new file login underscore file.py that is actually the page for our login page. Here we created a class login page and then we are passing the first page is created. Obviously, this right now very simple. We will make it uh, and now from perspective of the perspective where automation we- why we are using time dot sleep already to handle the page in case if page takes some time to load, then we can easily handle. Will change that to now coming to the test login dot. So we have removed the existing code from here. What will it do if it is not going to test the code of testing the web page. It will going to have the code for driving the test of our scenario. So we are just going to define. So we have to first import pages dot log file. So we are going pages. We are going to log in here in login page class. Now we are going to the module called login page dot. We are calling the of the login page. So we all are familiar with the inherit modules and variables. Here we are the same. We are first the parent class that is page and There is maybe Python is filter and so Python. So what does Python path that it the folder project folder as the starting. I'm not that Python is able to locate the pages. So in our case, our project folder is automatic. Um, when we are given Python path dot, then it is taking and folder structure as the test pytest dot readme tst and feed. So without Python path, it may just treat as the test folder. But now when we are given command in our pytest dot and immediately identify the pages folder. That after we find Python after our test. Now let me give the real life analogy of what we face and what we try to solve. Suppose we go to any Apple store and there are like multiple floors, um, and but they don't tell us from which floor we have to start from. Uh, and there might be possibility that we might start from the wrong floor. We face this situation in malls also, where instead of basement one or basement two, some ground floor or some different place. But let's suppose there list of store at the entry point that this floor contain this kind of store, this floor contain this kind of store, etc. That makes our work easier. We can easily identify where we have to go, how we can locate those store or their location. Same happens with the Python path. It just make the identification easier. So tells the Python to start searching from the project root folder. We can also say that Python path tells the Python the search from our project file, and dot means the current project folder. So because of this, writing searching right. So this was a simple page object that we created for login file. Now coming to the result. So in Pytest, there are two types of reports that we can generate for results. One is HTML report, LO report. HTML report just page the page entity, whereas LO report more details and better UI. Why do we need those reports? The reason is that after start executing tests next time or we close our browser, the result in terminal blank. And what if we have to share the result with stakeholders or the team members? Usually this won't be the right way to share the detail. So the gap and help us sharing the result of our automation step with the stakeholder or team or anyone. And it also help us in maintaining the record that in uh, automation stage was fed. Now we are going to use a simple HTML report and LO report, but as the coming session start and which time based all the results so that in there what was working in the previous system and what was not. But for today's session, we are just going to focus on HTML report and LO report. Now to all the HTML report, search this well added to page where command for calling the HTML report inside our Python. So, so Pytest hyphen H basically a plugin for Pytest that generates HTML. Now HTML report is installed. Yeah, so we can see the detail of the Pytest that is installed on our system. That is a version 4. Now add our results. So we install the generate the HTML code for for execution. Adding it Pytest will be the app give the execution, we have to generate the HTML for our what all the Pytest plugin terminal. Pass this Pytest hyphen equal to report. The simple Pytest, and after that double hyphen our path we want of our test is execute, and we can see one is passed, one is failed, and when we go to our reports .html file name that we had passed, so this is our result. This is passed, one is failed, fail, passed, and on just brief details. There are plugins like basic HTML report that we can generate in the HTML PyTest plugin. But apart from HTML, there is other option also, LEO report. So when it comes to LEO report, we have to if our LO reports will be generated. But before we are going to your report headers reports for how we can testis as it both testis are go to generated. But this is very raw form. Actual LO report. Then we have and that is the command LO currency minute. Now LU report generated. Overall, also that report has more details of. That's it for add some more data, some more. So that's it for tomorrow.